May 9th, 2018 was like any normal day. I got up, I prepared myself to work. Wasn't feeling that well, but I went to work anyway. That day, as I was at work, I started to feel worse, and by the end of my shift, I was dizzy, I had shortness of breath, my head was throbbing and pounding. I thought it may burst open at any moment. I was rushed to the emergency room where it was determined that my blood pressure was 238 over 155. A normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. I had officially reached heart attack and stroke levels. I couldn't believe it. The doctors were coming in telling me how lucky I was to be alive, that any moment I could have a heart attack or a stroke. And I was admitted into the hospital immediately for 3 days with intravenous medicines to reduce and lower my pressure as quickly as possible. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. But I made myself a promise. If I ever made it out of that hospital, then I was going to change my lifestyle. Now, of course, everyone knows that you take medicine to reduce hypertension, which is another name for high blood pressure. It is also called the silent killer because a lot of times it doesn't even have symptoms to warn you that your blood pressure may be high. But medicines by themselves can take care of the symptoms of high blood pressure, and it can help to reduce your blood pressure. But there are other things that you can do naturally to reduce your blood pressure. Today we're going to be discussing 3 ways to lower your blood pressure naturally. The first thing you want to do is exercise daily. Now you may think, exercise daily? Wouldn't exercise raise your blood pressure? Well, slightly. It does elevate your heart rate, which may elevate your blood pressure, but not in a way that is harmful. In fact, once your heart begins to pump with the exercise, then it gets stronger. And with a stronger heart, then the heart does not have to work as hard and as fast to pump blood throughout your body. And that can help to lower your blood pressure. Now, of course, you don't want to start exercising when you feel your blood pressure getting high, but you do want to use it as a maintenance, a daily maintenance to lower your blood pressure. Building a stronger heart means that the heart does not have to work as hard, and it doesn't have to beat as fast to pump oxygenated blood throughout the body and to those organs that need it. In addition to daily exercising, another way to naturally lower your blood pressure is to reduce your intake of sodium. There was a study that was done. There were 412 participants. 47% were women. And 40 of those 47%, 48 percent of them actually were people of color. And what they did is they took these 412 participants and they broke them down according to their blood pressures. They had the regular 120 over 80. They had slightly elevated at 130. And then they had extremely elevated at 160. And what they did is for 4 weeks, they had them on a diet, which is called the DASH diet. And with the DASH diet, they gradually decreased the amount of sodium that these participants were taking in. And at the end of the 4-week study, what they found is that all of three groups, the 120 over 80, the 130, and the 160, all their blood pressures decreased with the decrease in sodium that was in their diets. Now, of course, the 120 over 80's diet only increased by maybe 2 points. The 130, theirs decreased by about 6 points. But the people who had the higher blood pressures, the 160, theirs decreased by 8 points. And so it went to show that the people who had the higher blood pressures that had the reduced sodium diet, they actually benefited more from the reduced sodium. So it was established that lowering the sodium intake for people with high blood pressure, it does help and it does work. The researchers reanalyzed the data from earlier studies that had included these 412 adults, and they got the same results. They tried it with men, they tried it with women, and in both studies they did show again that the blood pressures were decreased with the low sodium diets, but not only decreased, again, the participants who had the higher blood pressures, who participated and had the sodium, the lower sodium diets, their blood pressures were reduced significantly with the reduction of the sodium. The last way that you can effectively reduce your reduce your blood pressure is to reduce stress. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, reduce stress? What does that have to do with blood pressure? Well, what studies have shown is that with the higher blood pressures, people who stress tend to have anxiety. And anxiety releases a hormone or hormones inside the body, and these hormones elevate your blood pressure. So when you're worried or you're stressed or you're angry or frustrated, things like that can increase your blood pressures. And of course, they come from the hormones that are produced when we feel these actions. Some of the things that you can do to help reduce stress in your life, I know it's kind of hard to say, well, my stress comes from work, just leave work, or I have a lot of stress at home, just leave home. For some of us, that may not be an option. But what we can do is we can do things to help reduce or relieve some of that stress. Some of the things we can do is meditation. When you train yourself to meditate, you teach your body how to be calm, how to breathe, how to take in positive energy and positive vibes, and to release negative energy and negative vibes not only from your body, but from your mind and your spirit and your soul. And in doing so, you will become calm and relaxed. And I know when you think about when you're angry, you're really, really frustrated, how can breathing, just stopping and breathing, help me with that, those actions and those emotions? But once you train yourself through meditation, it becomes very easy. And you can teach yourself to calm down in those moments and to relax. Very important. Some other things you can do is get a massage. A lot of tensions and stress makes our muscles tight. And what making the muscles and the body tight, then that too can cause your heart to have to beat faster and harder and blood to flow and pump harder. The blood pressure is the force of the blood against your artery walls. And when that blood is forced, or the pressure is so forceful against your artery walls for a long, consistent period of time, you develop high blood pressure. Now, this can lead to burst blood vessels. It can lead to blood clots, which then lead to strokes and heart attacks, and things of that nature, aneurysms. So you definitely want to try to avoid the pressure, your blood pressure getting high at all costs. Some of the things you can also do is use calming oils like lavender and chamomile and even vanilla. Teas. You may have tea to calm you down. Now, you want to go with the non-caffeine or non-caffeinated teas because caffeine can raise your blood pressure. So you want to avoid teas that have caffeine, but nice herbal teas that allow you to relax, taking a nap, and just getting to a quiet place and reading a book even can relax your mind and relax your body in those stressful situations. So you always want to try to avoid stress. There are some jobs like Google, for example. They have a place inside of their work that when you feel stressed or you feel stressful, it's a nice calming place that you can go to. And they have cots where you can take what they call a power nap. And it's for 10 or 15 minutes, but they have music, the lights are dim, the ambiance of the room is very relaxing and calm, but they understand the importance of reducing stress for good health for their employees and more productivity. So always want to try to reduce stress as much as you can. Now that I have educated you on 3 things that you can do to help reduce stress, you can now share this with those that you love, loved ones, co-workers, others who may be suffering from high blood pressure that would need this information or could use this information to lower their blood pressures. 4 months ago, and it seems just like yesterday, but 4 months ago, I could have had a heart attack, I could have had a stroke, and I would not be standing here today. But I am thankful that through medication, of course, daily exercise, reducing sodium in my diet every day, and reducing my stress at home and at work, I was able to lower my blood pressures to a manageable level. And you can too with these 3 easy steps. I'm so glad I was able to provide this information, and I hope that you will share it with someone that you care about as well. Thank you so very much. Have a good night.